believe it or not, we are entirely connected posteriorly from the supraciliary arch, basically from the eyebrows. There's just one single muscular chain, and believe me, one only, reaching the tip of our toes. You may want to search in the internet. There are some pictures. Well, in some cases they are not really very nice, but there's been some cadaver dissections, and you can see the entire, let's say, muscle. It's been put on a table, and it is basically just one fascia, so one, let's say, muscular chain that connects the eyebrows to the tip of our toes. Yes, you have understood correctly. I will now describe this posterior fascia. I will give you information, I will tell you what it is for, so stepwise, believe me, I will tell you all. So let's imagine the posterior fascia starting from the top. You can also start from the bottom, which is what we do for massage, reasons. Anyway, now we start, with this beautiful image, so it's much easier to understand and to follow. Now, first of all, the name is chain, posterior myofascial chain. Of course, we have one on the right, another one on the left. Or if you will, maybe one only, and then one half on the right, one half on the left. It is anterior in the area that you can see now. This is the supraciliary area, and then it goes through the center, so it goes all around, the skull, and then it moves down posteriorly. Let me be a little bit more precise. It goes under the dorsal area, and you can see here the dorsal areas, because of course in this image it's impossible to see in depth. Anyway, in your operating phase, so during the massage, just think of this image. You really have to groove, to massage on the central fascia that you can see here in the picture. Then we move down, it goes through the center, it reaches the pelvis, and then there are two branches, one on the right leg, the other one on the left leg. When it reaches the posterior part of the leg, it is around all of the biceps. Then it goes down again, it completely involves the so-called twins. Okay, let's wait for a second so you can see the image and the animation. So it goes to the Achilles tendon, and then down again, heel, so on the back of the heel, and then on the sole of the foot, it basically reaches, the toes. Okay, maybe you want to do the same thing, but from a different perspective. So we can start, from the feet, and then posteriorly, the heel, the Achilles tendons, and then the calves, the femoral biceps, and then under, if you will, the buttocks, and then up again, all of the muscular paravertebral fascia. It is all around the skull, and then it connects into the right and left supraciliary arch. Okay then, so let's put all of this into practice. From the physical point of view, in terms of massage, this is what we are supposed to do, to, let's say, release, or to give, sort of an anti-stress massage. Now, this kind of massage, it's not much the technique that's key, but it's the vectors, the force vectors, and even the application area. Just like a piano, maybe you know the different keys, but then depending on how you strike them, depending on how you play, the final result is different. So let's say that the music can change. So thanks to this kind of massage, and by the way, you can see that I've started with the infratendon or infratendinous, grooving. This is the foot, once again, the sole of the foot, that you must have seen already. Anyway, just if you do like this, I mean, on the sole, you will be able to release an entire fascia, because just think the following. Because the fascia is, a whole, so just one single long piece, if you remove tension here, you will do the same thing all the way to the eyebrows. Now, this is one of the simple tests or experiments that you can do. For example, ask your customers to get a tennis ball or even a golf ball, which is a little harder. And then you can ask him or her to massage the foot. Just like this, okay? Can you see here the tennis ball? So you really have to push a little bit, so it doesn't have to be too superficial. It has to be bold enough. So once again, you are able to release, the foot, or well, actually, in this case, the very, outer sole, if you will, of the foot. You will have a benefit on the rest of the body. You may want to bend, for example, until reaching the toes with the, fingers. You will realize that you will be able to touch, for example, the right foot instead of the left foot, because the posterior myofascial, muscle complex doesn't allow the body to, let's say, completely bend over anteriorly in order to, let's say, reach the fetal position and, stay in that position. So if the posterior fascia pulls, of course, we are able to, have this perfect position or posture. But if the fascia is too, stiff, it's almost impossible for us to bend over. And this is why if you are able to release the entire fascia, I mean, apart from the posture that improves quite a lot, well, the customer will get huge benefits, excellent results in terms of, moving, bending, let's say, the elasticity of the body. So the tennis ball test is absolutely great. So do like this, get a 5-minute massage. You will be able to see and to notice the difference versus the other foot where massage has not been done. You will be able to bend over, for example, much more and much better on the right, or for example on the left. If you, try and touch, your feet with your fingers, well, you will see a difference between right and left. I mean, even before treating or massaging the entire fascia, you will get excellent results if you work or if you massage on the entire fascia. So you may want to make a test. Okay, so do it. You can try on the one side. You will see a sort of a stretching effect, a sort of an elongation, right or left. Now, the final objective here is to offer a counterbalancing effect. So once again, you will massage both, but in particular, if you really want to do something specific and complete, this is where you have to work, which is the area, that you really have to focus on. For example, you may want to analyze the profile, so the side of the patient. So it depends on the posture. In some cases, they sort of bent over, so they have this sort of C-shaped back. So it depends. It may be anteriorized or posteriorized. So just look at the position of the shoulder. In some cases, the fascia may pull a little bit more on the back instead than pulling, frontally or anteriorly. Anyway, I keep massaging, so let me tell you exactly what to do. So first of all, we have to start from the infratendinous grooving. Once again, we will have to be very deep, so we will work in depth. So once again, you must have seen these images before, but let me tell you exactly what to do. We have to work in depth. We have to be very deep, because the tissues that you have to stretch can also be found in depth, I mean, between the different tendinous or even bony components of our body, in this case, the foot. And you have to be quite bold and, sturdy. Now, of course, you cannot start at full speed, because you may generate, pain or even a tickle. So at the very beginning, you will sort of test, the customer and the reaction of the customer. And then, of course, minute after minute, you will increase pressure. You will have different passes, more than one massage. So along the posterior myofascial chain, but also in all of the other positions, I mean, the number of actions or the number of passes and even the pressure may change in every customer, so customer from customer. So it's up to you to assess what to do for every customer, because you have established a specific relationship and a different relationship with every customer. So there is no written protocol or standard. Just imagine that this is just like a stretch band or an elastic band, which is very tight. It has to be made, let's say, softer. So you have to work on it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, so that the elasticity can be given back. So once you did this, and after, let's say, massaging or working, as I say, the 2 feet, you will then do the sort of grooving, and you can use your fists, so you can do like this. So you will massage, the plantar, so the muscular tendinous part. Also, in case of, fasciitis, this treatment is able to soften, to give, relief. And you know why? Well, if you have fasciitis, well, all of this part of the fascia, is very tight or tense. This is why there's a frequent inflammation. So this happens, to football players or maybe to women, using high heels. So you have to massage like this, infra-tendon, with your fingers on the 2 feet. Closed fists, if you will. What is important is a stepwise approach. In terms of duration, well, it depends on how tight or tense the foot is. You may want to spend up to 5 minutes per foot if there's plenty of tension. If you see that after 3 or 4 passes, it takes 20 seconds to do this. If you feel the tissue is very soft, and it's a sort of a feeling, actually, it's a perception that you have. Of course, you will become more and more experienced. In this case, you know when it's time to move on to the other foot. So total peace of mind to work like this, closed fists on one foot first, and then you will shift to the contralateral foot. Now, after completing the treatment on the 2 feet, right and left, of course, you will focus. Now, for example, by the way, there's an assessment that you have done of the posterior chain. You may want to ask your patient, to bend over just to see where or until where he or she can reach out. For example, touching feet. Now, legs have to be, in a vertical position. So once again, they don't have to bend their knees, otherwise it will be too easy. If they move, for example, on the right, or maybe they move a little bit more on the left, you will understand that there's an unbalance in their posture, so that you know where to work exactly. So either more on the right or a little bit more on the left. This is really, really interesting, so please follow me and don't miss any step. So we need to massage the calf area and the Achilles tendon. So we will be working stepwise, so we will go deeper and deeper, because if the fascia is too tight, I know it may be a little painful at the very beginning. So have or use a stepwise approach. So moderate intensity at the very beginning, a little bit more than moderate after a couple of passes, and then all the way to a very deep, bold massage. Very similar to a neuromuscular or sports massage. Then you will go up and you will be working on the femoral biceps. So first, you will have to have, the sequence is not important. You may want to do like this. So fist first, and then the thumbs, or thumbs first, followed by the closed fist. So now it's time to work on the deep muscles. So we will be working on the buttocks. So with your customer in this position, so prone, you will only uncover the part to be massaged, and of course you will, release the central part of this muscular chain, as we like to say. In this case, we will be working on the posterior part of the buttock. As you can see here, it gives you a pleasant feeling, lightness offered to the leg. Now, the final objective of this course, by the way, is not just giving lightness to legs, but of course we would like to work on the entire posterior myofascial chain. This means that your customer will be able to bend over very easily. Forces will be redistributed and rebalanced, so they will also rebalance the spine. This is a leg treatment, but the entire body will be counting on a new balance in terms of muscular and skeletal structure. So after working very well on the posterior area, which is what we have done now, we will then move on to the paravertebral muscles. So all the muscles around the spine, so on the two sides of the spine, right and left in this case, we will massage, offering relief. So if you have some areas with plenty of tension, and do consider that in this course, this area has to be considered as an extension of what we have done before on legs and feet. So basically it is just one single fascia, just one single, if you will, unit. Of course, there will be different muscular units inside, but it is just like a whole. And maybe this is a different vision than what you had so far. Now, you can see here some passes, some actions, as I like to say. Of course, you may want to add other, let's say, massage. It is as if you had to extend, this fascia. And of course, you may want to repeat, these maneuvers. This is what I'm doing. So when breathing out, when the customer breathes out, I sort of elongate. So I use my tight closed fists. I can also open the the fascias horizontally. So as you can see here, with different maneuvers, you can also work on the forearms, and in that case, you can really go deeper. In other cases, you may also want to have a two-hand massage, so from the bottom all the way up like this. So even if you receive this massage, well, this is really, really very pleasant because you really have this feeling of, getting longer, so stretching out. It sounds or feels like something moving along your spine. We can then work on the neck. So we can now continue what we have started before. This means that we can really, really work on the trapezium. Now, this is a sort of an area which is on the back of the skull. So skull base, occipital bone. Then it goes down till reaching the middle part of the back. So we will massage this part. So here we have the muscles, and of course, as a consequence, we have a muscular fascia. It will be of great benefit. Of course, the muscles of the neck will also control the position of the head. Of course, we also have other balancing factors intervening. Anyway, if you get the right, treatment, so this is an extension, the body will be able to, rebalance, to re-establish actually the right postural balance. Continue. So we go on with our treatment, and it will continue like this. So we have worked on the neck, we have massaged the neck, and now we have to stretch the front muscles. I'm really talking about the forehead. As I said at the beginning of this video, let's say that the fascia starts right from here just above the eyebrows, and then all the way down skull, the back, and down to the feet. So here we have to stretch the insertion point at the supraciliary point. So we will have a sort of an extension done. Of course, you don't have to generate pain. So we start from the eyebrows, from the arch all the way up to the hairline. You can work vertically, so moving towards the hairline. You can also do like this. So you can have this sort of horizontal or C-shaped movements. So you get very beautiful results. Now the secret is, especially when you work on the posterior myofascial chain, you have to work on the entire fascia, so not just the feet, but then you start around the feet and then all the way up to the forehead. You can do this massage for a couple of minutes and then we can do something else. So now we will be working on to the, we'll be working on the fascia, on the top of the skull. This is basically deep tissue that we have under the scalp. Of course, you have to, comply with or respect hair, because, in some cases, if you have some bald men, it's easy, but with women, it's a little bit more difficult. So, especially with long hair. So, you clean your hands, dry hands. You may use, a handkerchief for a tissue. Maybe you've taken the deep tissue massage already, but if you didn't do it, you can see in this video what you have to do. Just like, offering a shampoo to our customer, like this. It has to be very deep, as if you had, to remove the scalp or to shift it on one side and then on the other. Okay, so don't pull the hair. So you have to work on the, top of the skull for a couple of minutes. So 2, 3, 4 minutes for the feet, and then you have the legs, again 3 or 4 minutes. Then you have a couple of minutes for the back, and then you go up for the neck, so 1 minute for the neck, and then a couple of minutes, so forehead and the skull. So it's basically what, 7, 8 minutes. So let's say a maximum of 10 minutes. So you can keep working, okay, like this. So you also have to work on many other myofascial chains that I will describe in the rest of the video. It will take 15 to 20 minutes. So it's a complete treatment, and this treatment, of course, is included in the range of the treatments that you are already able to offer. Now, if a person especially needs this treatment only, you will make sure it will last longer. Now, of course, even if you work on all the chains, all the muscles, 1 hour is a little too much. So this is why you have to add this to the vertebral, technique, and then the vertebral treatment, and even the osteopath. Michele, that you see here, will teach you plenty of techniques so as to have a perfect rebalance for your customer. Let me also give you a preview. So there will be courses in the future, so keep an eye on our website in our specific section, especially for those of you who are professionals. You want to really reach a very high level, you are very ambitious, and you really want to have top training courses. So in that case, you may want to download some more specific courses. You will learn new techniques. In this case, there will be not just a 360 degrees. You can multiply this by 3. So this is the key concept I wanted you to understand. Okay, enjoy the next videos. I like to talking, communicating to all of you, but of course we cannot keep this video too long. Okay, so enjoy the next video. I will be explaining, the anterior myofascial chain. Now, if you watch, the other video, before this one or any other video in this course, this is not a mistake. There is no forced sequence. You don't have to start from the back first and then anteriorly later. What is important is to massage both sides, and especially, the muscular chain which is really affected. This is why it takes a couple of minutes to do the right analysis to really understand what your customer needs to have a perfect rebalance.